Hello everyone, today we are doing our first of many epic monster battles. Today we are doing the ultimate classic universal monster battle, the Phantom of the Opera versus Dracula. Dracula is more powerful and supernatural and basically immortal, while the Phantom of the Opera is just a normal person who lives underneath the Paris Opera House. But there's more to meet the eye in this battle. Dracula began his long history during about the 1500s when Vlad Dracula, or Vlad the Impaler, ruled Germany. He was famed for killing many Europeans and Turks. He killed about 100,000 Turks to be exact. During the 1890s, Bram Stoker, a book writer, decided to make a book called Dracula, and this started the legend of Dracula. During the 1920s, a movie released called Nosferatu. Nosferatu is basically a Dracula movie, but it's a rip-off of Dracula, basically. It is considered to be the best horror movie of all time. But this is not the Dracula that we're judging for this battle. We're judging the 1931 Dracula. 1931 Dracula movie is widely considered to be one of the best horror movies of all time. The actor who played Dracula was Bela Lugosi and is famed for being one of the top horror stars of all time. Even though Bela Lugosi played the role of Dracula, another actor was supposed to play the role of Dracula, which was Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney was a makeup master, and I could say is better than Jack Pierce, who made the makeup because even though Jack Pierce made the makeup for Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, and all the great classics, Lon Chaney just basically started the legacy of Jack Pierce, because he started Classic Universal Monsters. Might be wondering why I say Lon Chaney started the Classic Universal Monsters. It's because he played the first Classic Universal monster, the Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera is actually a true story, pretty much. There's actually a real guy named Eric who helped build the opera, and also when he kidnapped a singer, and she was 3 weeks later found. After that, Eric, the real life one, lived in the opera and died of starvation while down there. And actually it's recorded that they found the bones of the actual Eric. They said that the ghost haunts the opera. Ghost of Eric haunts the opera house. And so that's how it inspired Gaston Leroux's novel, The Phantom of the Opera. In 1925, Lon Chaney made The Phantom of the Opera into a film and is still widely remembered as a horror masterpiece. And this is what started the Classic Universal Monsters. Now it's time to get to how powerful the Phantom of the Opera is and how powerful Dracula is. Dracula has the strength of 20 men, and the Phantom of the Opera is just a normal guy. So if they just go head to head, this will obviously go to Dracula because he's immortal, and the Phantom of the Opera probably doesn't know Dracula's real weakness, and also the Phantom of the Opera could be hypnotized. But if this battle takes place in the Paris Opera House, which is the only place the Phantom would stay, and the only place Dracula would go, because why would the Phantom of the Opera go to Dracula's castle, or just go outside the Opera House, period? So, I think that the battle will have to take place in the Paris Opera House. If they just meet head to head, again I say, that would turn into a battle that Dracula wins. Even though the Phantom of the Opera has a whip, it probably wouldn't be useful against Dracula. But the Phantom of the Opera could win this battle. Despite him being a normal man, he has many traps that could hurt or even kill Dracula. He could put the chandelier, make the chandelier fall on Dracula, and that could put some damage on Dracula, even though it probably wouldn't kill him. Another thing is, maybe the Phantom of the Opera could lock him in a room where there's a window, and in the morning Dracula would die. Also, judging from the 1925 movie, there's another trick that the Phantom of the Opera could use. Dracula is powerful, and as you know, he's got a weakness to the sun, though. But why does he have a weakness to the sun? Could it be because of the heat of the sun? We don't know for sure, but if it is the heat of the sun, the Phantom of the Opera has already won this battle. Because in the 1925 movie, the Phantom of the Opera does lure the two of the heroes into a room where they slowly get incinerated. So, if Dracula gets in there and his weakness of the sun is due to extreme heat, Dracula would die. Also, if Dracula found the escape route in the 1925, just like in the 1925 movie, then he could make it to the barrels of gunpowder, where it would explode and kill both of them. But I think Dracula would survive that, but if his weakness is extreme heat, then he would die. Then he has another trap, and that's the part where they slowly drown. Dracula could survive that. So if Dracula doesn't find an escape from the heat thing, he is dead, basically. And the winner would be the Phantom of the Opera. So I think that if this battle took place in the Paris Opera House, the winner would be the Phantom of the Opera. This battle would probably not happen, though, if it was the Phantom of the Opera, because the Opera House is the Phantom of the Opera's home. So, Dracula would need permission to go in. And who is dumb enough to let Dracula go in your home unless you have no idea? And the Phantom of the Opera doesn't want anyone in his home, period. And so, I'm going with the Phantom of the Opera winning this battle. Then again, if it's in a different area, and the Phantom of the Opera does not have his home base for protection, this battle would go to Dracula all the way. And there wouldn't be really any competition at all. But if this battle is in the Paris Opera House, then the Phantom of the Opera would win. So I say the victor would be the Phantom of the Opera. And that is it. Join us next time for our next battle. The Wolfman versus the Mummy, Charis.